Hello and welcome to Capricorn Makes. I'm Stacy, and today I'm going to be talking about my incoming BJDs and my plans for the immediate future, which in this hobby is, kind of on the long game. So at the beginning of April, I ordered a Gem of Doll Fa Lang, which is an MSD in white skin with an embossed body. She has a peacock raised tattoo that runs from her chest plate all the way down her torso and down one of her legs. She also has an embossed collar and cuffs and ankle cuffs as well. And I find it a really striking body. It's only available in white skin, and I believe it was a limited doll that was released for Chinese New Year a couple of years ago, I think, and they have brought her back in a limited capacity for their 4th anniversary event. And I struggled with, because this is my first BJD, I struggled with what doll should I get for my first doll. I mean, I have grand plans, and I was like, well, should I get something that's I wasn't really looking for an inexpensive doll or like a newbie friendly doll or anything like that. What I wanted was a doll that I could sew for, that I could pose and take photos of and just sort of enjoy having. Like, the posability was something that I was really quite interested in. But when I was talking to this about my husband, he's like, look, there is one doll that you talk about all the time, and she's limited, and she's available right now. You know which doll you need to get. And he was right. He was right. This doll, even if I do nothing with this doll but leave her on a shelf, unpainted, untouched, I still think she will be absolutely gorgeous. I mean, that is not to say that this body is especially... it's kind of an awkward body. I mean, all of the photos of her are absolutely gorgeous in the way that she's been painted and styled. And I love her delicacy of motion. But I actually think she's kind of awkward and ugly, in a really appealing way. Like, her face is, like, it's not a realistic proportions whatsoever. Her eye wells are kind of oddly shaped. Like, her joints are kind of squarish and strange. Like, instead of any kind of shaped knee or shoulder, knee or elbow, she has like just a basic peanut, double-ended peanut. So like her limbs when bent are quite square. And she's very tall for a female MSD. She is 45 centimeters tall, which is seemingly on the taller end for that size and scale. And I actually don't want to keep that head with that body. That head is, I really like it. I believe it is the same sculpt as their Sofiar sculpt, which is on a smaller body. I mean, it's not terribly small. I think she's 43 centimeters. But I actually would love her on an even smaller body. And I like the aesthetic that the Sofiar has. And I think, like, I would like to sort of keep that, preserve that kind of frilly, frou-frou, rococo. Like, I have light blue eyes planned for her. I have lighter hair, nothing darker than sort of a toffee color, all the way through to, like, white wigs. I really sort of, I like that for that particular head. And the head I would like to have on that body is a Doll Family A practice head, of all things. Now, there are a number of reasons why I chose that head specifically. One of which is because the body is so odd and so unnatural looking, with the raised bits and like the not organic seams. I'm like, this character reminds me of an android or an AI, robotic in nature. And because it would make sense for a being like that to have a body that wasn't especially human. And what I really like about the DFA practice head is that it is mass-produced. It's common. Everybody has them. Nobody values them. I'm like, yes, people really like their DFA practice heads. That's not the issue. But it adds to the overall feeling of this sort of manufacturedness of what this character is coming to shape up to be. And I really like that. I like that. And I also, because the heads are inexpensive, have the option of painting up lots of heads and modding them and doing different things. Now, I do actually plan a pretty significant eye mod and possibly some other face mods to this doll to make it look a little bit older. What I realized about this sculpt is that it reminds me significantly of the Dollmore Alex sculpt, or Alexia, I think is the female version of it. But every time I looked at that doll and that face, I'm like, this body looks really quite young. I don't really like any of the hybrids that I've seen. Something. I could just take the DFA practice head and make the eyes look more like the eyes on the Alex sculpt, and I think I would be very, very happy. And I did a mock-up and was thrilled with the results. I was like, yes, that is my character. That's my character right there. And so that would be, with the mods, the standard sculpt. I also plan, with the other heads that I'm getting, I want to do sort of a full traditional Chinese opera face paint with that sculpt. And also another head that is essentially like a robot head. Now that head has a very smooth head cap transition, which I really, really like. And I thought it would be really interesting to take advantage of that and carve in some more artificial robotic details and features on that. Because at $25 for a head, why not have multiples on a character that is a synthetic anyway, right? Right, I thought so. I think it's going to be really, really cool, and I'm really looking forward to exploring the sorts of ideas that are growing up around these particular dolls. So that leaves me with the falling head, which is the Sofiar head, I believe. And so I'm going to hopefully get a smaller body for that, but I don't want to make that plan until I get the dolls here on both of the heads to make sure that the DFA head actually fits on the body properly. From everything that I've read, it should be fine. And I have seen Agent Knopf has posted several videos of her DFA practice head on some Doll Zone bodies. Like on a 42 centimeter body, it is really clear that this is a very big MSD head, like really big. And it doesn't look good on a smaller body, female body at all. She also has it on the Doll Zone Freddy body, which is, I think is it 43? Is it 40? I don't think it's 45 centimeters. It's bigger. But the body for Fa Lang actually has wider shoulders than Freddy does and a similar neck circumference. So I'm hoping that that large head will actually look proportionate on the 45 centimeter tall body. So I'm really quite excited about that as a potential hybrid. And yeah, my first doll hybrids, multiple heads, really complicated body paint, of course, because I never do things by halves, ever. So I'm really looking forward to all of these things arriving. Now, because the DFA practice head is in stock, I will get to, like when I order that from Alice's Collections, it will arrive first. Because I ordered the from Alice's Collections during a Gem of Doll event, I suspect that that order won't go in till the end of the event, which is not until 2 more weeks, I think, maybe another week when the event ends. And so I suspect that the order won't even get put into the company until then. So because I live in New Zealand, and because of all of the shipping and everything, I am not expecting this doll to get to me until maybe September. Like, if September arrives and I still haven't really heard anything much about the doll, I'll maybe start getting concerned. But, you know, if she comes earlier, that's great. I'll have a doll earlier. But really the waiting that is part of this hobby is not, I mean, yes, waiting is waiting, but I actually really like anticipation. And most of, I think it's a really valuable part of, sorry, I have the hiccups. It's a really valuable part of sort of the pre-thinking and the, I don't know, it's just something that I have always really, really liked. And I mean, yes, it's hard. Yes, it's frustrating, but I also think that there are some clarities of thought and clarities of vision and things that you sort of learn about yourself and the growth that you do while you are waiting is a valuable part of it. So I'm not ever really like, is it here, is it here? I mean, like, come talk to me in a few months where I'm like, where is my doll? I just want my doll here. Yes, I want my doll here. And if I could be like, oh yes, well, she arrived tomorrow, today. I mean, like, if there was an option like that, I would probably pay the extra and do it. But I'm also not going to get fussed if I have to wait 6 months for a doll. That is something that I'm sort of aware that is going to be a wait. I'm not too worried about it. So my DFA head will be here, and the body, when the body comes, that's when I'll know if I need to buy another body, or what body I'm going to be buying. If I don't, like if the DFA head doesn't fit on the white skin body, I will probably just set that head aside for like modding, and then buy other DFA heads that are in a skin tone that's closer to the body that I do end up buying. I don't know what that is yet, but ideally I'd like to put the Sofiar sculpt on a tiny, tiny, tiny MSD, like 42 centimeters, 40 centimeters, something really small. I want her to be very petite, very, just, I have a particular image for her, and I have a like a direction I would like to take that particular sculpt, and but we'll see, because it may need, I might need to switch that up. So that's sort of like, I've got a place marker there, waiting until I get everything here before I order another body. I also believe I want jointed hands to go on the Gem of Doll body. So I may take advantage of the sale that's going on at Alice's Collections on the Doll Legend hands. I may not, I may wait on that, because if the DFA head doesn't fit on that particular body, the hands that I get on the body that I would be buying might be sufficient. I don't know. Yes, the jointed hands allow for a lot more movement, which lends an air of naturalness to the poses, but they also, again, look synthetic. Because they're not real hands. I mean, and what I would like to do with this doll is sort of explore the boundaries between what is real, what is fake, what does realness mean, sort of in a Velveteen Rabbit sort of theme. I'm really quite looking forward to this doll, and I'm loving the world that's springing up around my ideas surrounding this doll. So, future plans. So my aesthetic for like dolls that I like other people's dolls that I like, or sculpts that I like, have been really, like I have a very well defined, like this is the aesthetic that I like. And then I have the dolls that my heart goes, oh my god, that doll is phenomenal. I have to have it because it just speaks to me. And these two are worlds away from one another. I actually am not even sure I would be happy owning a big set of the dolls that are kind of in like my preferred aesthetic that I like to look at from other people's. I don't actually think I would be happy with those dolls. And I have no idea why. I mean, I suspect that will be answering like as I progress further along in my hobby. But so the doll that I'm absolutely obsessed with at the moment, and I have just been like, since I saw this doll, is the Doll Chateau Snowborn human version. Because centaurs, and I'm not a centaur person. I find them to yeah, we'll just not talk about centaurs. But so like he comes in a human version, and I love him. He absolutely embodies a character that I used to live in Alaska, and I love the snow. I love the light on the snow. I love the crispness of the air. I love it. I absolutely love it. And the silence that the snow makes, and the sounds and the wind and ice on. I love the winter there. I love it. I love it. And I sort of have this embodiment, who he's sort of like the playful, beautiful, merciless, not that he's evil or anything like that, but sort of this Jack Frost character called Crispin that I have carried with me since I was a very young girl. And this doll is the embodiment of that. And I want him in his full set. I love everything that comes with him. So this is going to be an enormous amount of doll, an enormous amount of money, because again, I don't seem to do anything by halves here. And add on top of that the fact that the New Zealand dollar is significantly weaker than the US dollar, and customs, and the additional shipping, and what have I gotten myself into, because yeah, I don't know. I do want to mod his nose. The pointy nose is not... I think it's cute, and the full set does include a face-up, and so I'll probably keep him with the company face-up for some time before I get into modding. But I would like to mod his nose to have a more interesting, bumpy, still long and pointy, just not that Pinocchio long and pointy. You know, he does need to have an icicle for a nose, but something closer to like the Ring K, or, you know, something with like a bumpy nose bridge. I would really like that to happen, but I'm happy for this doll to kick around with his company face up for a while, since it is cheaper to buy the full set than it is to buy all of the pieces individually without the makeup full set. I don't know how that works, but like the face up is included for free. I'm okay with that. I really am. But I don't know, he just makes me sing. And in the same way that the falling, like the body and the pictures of her make me just, and the same way that my idea of taking like the Sofiar and pushing her more towards a sort of frilly, rococo, playful, seer sort of direction goes. And I mean, like, the things that are making me just come alive with excitement, that's the direction I have to go. I can't not do that. And I think I'm kind of okay with that. I'm like, I feel great. I'm really looking forward to it. So back to waiting really quickly. Like, what am I going to do while I'm waiting for all this, and while I'm sort of saving up to make this new purchase, because I'm waiting for another Doll Chateau event, to the next Doll Chateau event that sort of makes it more of a good deal for me. To buy this enormous big full set doll. So we'll see what ends up happening with that and how long that ends up taking me. But what am I going to do while I'm waiting? Well, I have pattern books, and I think what I'm going to do is, because I have to test patterns anyway, I'm going to, while I'm waiting for the falling body to show, or the falling doll to show up, I'm going to try and make every single pattern that I have available to me out of my books. Which I think at last count was like 45 pieces of clothing that I have available to make. That's a lot of clothing. But I mean, I think it's really funny that like this doll will probably end up with a full wardrobe, not necessarily all of which will be appropriate for the characters, but this doll will have a full wardrobe when it arrives, when this is specifically a doll that is meant to be displayed nude. Don't ask. It's fine. But yes, so I kind of wanted to share with you what my plans were, what I have incoming, so that when I go, I'm still waiting, you will have had some kind of marker for what I'm waiting on and what I'm planning on going to. I will put links below to the things that I have referenced, if I remember, so that you can see, because I'm uncomfortable putting company photos up in my video, but at least you can click on and see what it is that I'm waiting on. And yes, that I think is it for today. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you in the next one.